Okay, today we're going to do the oil change on these two. This one and this one. This is a 10.5 horse Briggs Stratton, 1-cylinder, and then here we have the 27 horse Briggs Stratton twin 2-cylinder. And this one is brand new actually. Had blown the original Kawasaki motor on this. And just recently replaced it with this new Briggs Stratton 27, and it's time to do its first oil change and filter, and that's what we'll film that today. And at the same time I'll be doing an oil change on this one, which is not new, but just a good time to do them both in the same day. So first thing I got to do is get into here. I've got my pan and I've got my hose. First thing I gotta do is grab the hose and hook it up to the line way back in there on that little exit right there, which will be really hard to do while filming, but I'll try. There. It's on there. And run the hose out through the carriage, the chassis, and into the bucket. And at this point it's a good idea to run the motor a little bit. That gets the dirt particles up into the oil and kind of suspended in the oil before you hit the pull the drain plug. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, and normally you should run it a little longer than that, get it heated up, but I've been running it, and I was just kind of rerunning it a little bit. And now the trick is going to be to try to turn that little knob there. This is my first time on this engine. I hope it's going to be easy to turn. And it's not. Okay, not easy to turn, so I'm not going to be able to film that part. I'm going to have to put a wrench on there. But you turn that little knob and then it will drain into there, and I'll turn the camera back on as soon as I got that going. Okay, so now I have it loosened up. I loosened it with a wrench and should be able to turn it now. Okay, so that's open and the oil should start to come out momentarily. Doesn't usually take this long. Oh, there it goes. And as you can see, this oil is fairly new. It's only got about 20 hours on it. The idea is to get the first oil change done. Anything that might be left in the engine, either coming out in this oil change or stuck in the original filter, which is the next thing that we'll be doing. And I'm not going to bore you by filming the entire draining, but the next thing we're going to be doing after that's done is changing that filter, the original filter, which can sometimes be very hard to get off because robot puts them on, usually puts them on too tight. So I hope we don't run into trouble with that. That'll be the next thing I'm filming here. I'll just kind of set it up on a tripod and hope for the best. Okay, here we go with the filter. I am anticipating problems with this just because it's really tight in there. I think I'm only going to get about one chance at this before the filter collapses. Anybody that's ever changed a filter knows what I'm talking about with the collapse. And so I'm going to squeeze a little extra hard the first try here and hope for the best. Yeah, it's turning. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get lucky. I prefer to have them all hand tight, so ordinarily I can usually get them off with my hand after I've put them on, but I'll use a wrench like that on a factory one. Well, it is tight area in there. I can only get like maybe an eighth of a turn. There it goes. And I just kind of let it make a mess. I don't have anything under there. And there we go. First oil filter is off of there. I'll be putting this brand new one on. That will be next. Alright, so here's the new one in its package. As you can see, it's got a dry oil, dry O-ring. And what you can do is you can just kind of take the oil, just take it right off with your finger of the old one, put it on the new one. You want to make sure that you lubricate the O-ring, otherwise you're really setting yourself up for trouble on the next time, because it won't be lubricated and it'll be stuck on there. So there's that, and I think we can spin it on now. Oh, actually it's a good idea to fill the new filter and let it absorb the oil before you put it on. To give you a better reading when you're doing that. So let me turn this camera off again for a moment. So I don't know how well this is going to go. I'm going to try to show you how to fill this up. And it's just, you know, common sense. Just pour it in, fill it all the way up, and it will soak all that in. And once it does soak it all in, then you just spin it on. It soaked it in really fast. Well, no, actually I can see it in there. But it'll absorb it all into the element, so it's not going to be spilling out all over when you turn it, as if it matters. I've already got oil all over. And for cleaning up all that oil down there, you can use Simple Green. Works pretty good. You can buy it in large quantities, really cheap, and that's what I usually use for everything. It's a good grease cutter, and I think we've got it pretty much absorbed enough to the point where it's not going to spill out all over if I try to put it on, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on. Okay, and the general rule is a quarter turn past hand tight. If you've got really strong hands, you can pretty much get it on there as tight as they do want. Don't put it on too tight because you will have trouble getting it off next time. So if you're strong, just get it on there as hard as you can put it on there. But if you're not real strong, just be careful with the wrench because that wrench can tear through the wall. Now this one's in such a tight area, I think I'm going to put a towel around it and then tighten it with the wrench so that the towel will keep the wrench from tearing into it. And boy, I don't think I'm going to be able to show any of that. Here you go. See, I've got the towel all wrapped around the filter. I've got it double wrapped so I can give it just a little bit more. Just about that much. And that's as far as I want to go with it because, boy, I don't want it to be hard to get off. I'm sure it's not going to spin off on its own. So that takes care of the filter. So now all you want to do is go under here and close that valve. Then you can take your tube off. And now the oil has been removed, the new filter's on, and all you have to do is fill it back up with oil. Okay, so now we're going to fill the oil up, and I'm realizing just now that I forgot to pick up the manual on this new engine, but they're all pretty much the same. They're all about 2 quarts. So the filter took maybe half a quart, and so my goal is I'm just going to go with the meter on the can, and I'm going to go down to right about there. I think is where I'm going to stop. That should be just about right. Basically, you want to add a little bit. If you go over, you do want to pull the plug and get the level down to where it's supposed to be on the dipstick, right in between those two lines is where you're shooting for. And if it's above there, you definitely want to get the excess oil out of there. But just pulling the plug a little bit, let some come out. If there's not enough, you add. Simple as that. And that should just about do it on this oil change. Once you're done, you know, run the motor, then check the level again, and adjust accordingly. Now we'll move on to the next motor. Okay, on to this next one. This one's going to be quite a bit easier because it doesn't have a filter. It should have a filter, and you can put a filter on there. Right about there is where you can put on a bolt-on aftermarket filter. Some of them have a filter from the factory, some of them don't. Actually, right there is where you can put a starter on. But with a starter, you would also have to put a battery, and way up there under the flywheel, you would have to put a stator to charge, and just not quite, well, I mean, it would be worth doing, but getting off the subject. Right here is, okay, there's the drain plug. So basically, there's no filter, you just drain the oil and fill the oil. And this is, okay, I brought the bucket and tube over from the other one, and just hook the hose up to the little nub, and we hope that's going to turn. It's been a while on this one. I just put the hose, make sure that the hose is all the way down in there, otherwise it's not going to flow uphill, if you know what I mean. And now we'll just pull the plug and hope for the best. Right there. There it goes. Twist and pull. Uh-oh. I'll pull it off. Okay, didn't expect that. So now I've got, didn't even quite know, this appears to be a little bit broken. So right there, if you can see that stopper that's broken, is supposed to stop it from coming all the way off. Put it to right about there. And maybe that will limit, yeah, okay, I think that it's possibly going down the hose now. So that was a little surprise, and a little bit more of a mess to clean up. But now you can't see it in this one. It gurgled a little bit. Yep, there it goes. It's coming out now. And so the oil's coming out of this motor. I'll clean up the mess and I'll refill the oil. I think this one even gave me a capacity on the motor somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe so, maybe not. Anyway, I remember it being a little bit smaller, like 1.5 or closer to 1 quart, so I'll just be filling this one by means of trial and error. Maybe it says it on the dipstick. Nope, doesn't say it. Just says do not overfill, but it won't tell you exactly. So, same thing, get between those two holes. If you overfill it, drain some out. If you underfill it, add some more. Simple as that. This may do it. I think the rest is all self-explanatory. And that's the oil change on these two big mowers. And I appreciate you watching. Bye.